You put your phone away. No scrolling, no notifications, no endless distractions. And yet, your mind is still restless. Thoughts keep running, your attention drifts. Silence feels strangely uncomfortable. You did the thing everyone says will fix your focus. So why doesn't your brain feel calm? For a moment, everything feels quiet. No buzzing, no glowing screen, no endless stream of information. But then something else begins. Your mind starts replaying conversations. You remember something awkward you said last week. Then a new thought appears, something you forgot to do, something you should be working on. You try to relax, but your brain fills the space with noise. This surprises many people because we're told that the phone is the main problem, that distraction comes from technology. But the reality is more complicated. The phone didn't create your restless mind. It just filled the silence. When the phone disappears, the mind becomes visible. And for many people, that's uncomfortable because silence reveals something deeper. Your brain has been trained to expect constant stimulation. In cognitive psychology, attention behaves like a muscle that adapts to its environment. If it's constantly switching tasks, it becomes better at switching, but worse at staying still. So when the phone is gone, your brain doesn't automatically settle. It keeps searching for something to engage with, almost like a radio scanning for signal. But that's only part of the story, because the deeper question isn't about technology. It's about why your brain resists quiet in the first place.
You are not weak. You are not addicted to distraction in some moral sense. Your brain is doing what it was designed to do. Humans evolved in environments where attention meant survival. Your brain constantly scans for information, movement, voices, threats, opportunities. Stillness was rarely necessary, so your nervous system became incredibly sensitive to stimulation. The modern world simply amplifies that instinct. Your phone becomes the easiest source of novelty. But even when you remove it, the underlying system is still active. Your brain still expects input, which means the restlessness you feel is not failure. It's the echo of a system that evolved to stay alert. The real question is, how does that system learn to settle again? To understand this, you need to know about something called dopamine prediction. Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but that's misleading. In neuroscience, dopamine is mainly about anticipation. It motivates your brain to search for information and rewards. Every time you check your phone, your brain expects novelty, a new message, a new video, a new piece of information. Each small discovery releases a bit of dopamine. Over time, your brain builds a loop. Cue, check, novelty, dopamine. The important part is prediction. Your brain starts expecting stimulation. So when stimulation disappears, something interesting happens. Dopamine levels drop below baseline, not dramatically, just enough to feel like boredom or restlessness. It's similar to walking into a quiet room after being in a noisy city. The silence feels almost loud. Your brain doesn't know what to do with the absence of signal, so it starts generating its own thoughts, memories, concerns. This involves a network called the default mode network. This brain system becomes active when you are not focused on a task. It produces internal narratives, self-reflection, planning, worry. In moderation, the system is useful, but when it activates suddenly after constant stimulation, it can feel overwhelming. Your mind becomes crowded. So the phone wasn't just distracting you, it was covering the noise already inside your mind. And when it disappears, the mind reveals itself. But that doesn't mean the mind has to stay noisy. Your brain is adaptable. The real question is how to retrain it.
Calming the mind isn't about removing technology. It's about retraining attention. Here are 4 principles grounded in psychology. What to do: practice short periods of focused attention. 5 minutes reading a page slowly, 5 minutes observing your surroundings. Why it works: attention networks strengthen through repetition. The prefrontal cortex becomes more efficient at sustaining focus. Over time, the brain stops craving constant novelty. Real-life example: instead of checking your phone during every pause in the day, you sit for 3 minutes and simply notice the room around you. At first, your mind jumps everywhere, but gradually, those jumps become less intense. What to do: when boredom appears, don't immediately remove it. Let it exist for a moment. Why it works: behavioral psychology shows that avoidance strengthens discomfort, but exposure weakens it. When your brain learns that boredom is not dangerous, The urge to escape fades. Real-life example. You're waiting in line. Your hand instinctively reaches for your phone. Instead, you pause. You look around. At first, it feels strange. Then, your nervous system settles slightly. What to do? Use slow breathing when your thoughts feel crowded. Long exhale, short inhale. Why it works? This activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Your heart rate slows. And when the body signals safety, the brain reduces mental scanning. Real-life example. You're sitting quietly and your mind starts racing. You breathe out slowly for 6 seconds. After a few breaths, the mental noise softens. What to do? Choose intentional forms of stimulation. Reading, writing, reflecting. Why it works? These activities engage deeper cognitive networks rather than quick dopamine spikes. Your brain shifts from novelty seeking to meaning processing. Real-life example. Instead of scrolling for 20 minutes, you write a few thoughts in a notebook. The stimulation becomes slower and more stable.
Here's the mental model to remember. Your mind is like a lake. When constant stimulation hits the surface, the water becomes choppy. Your phone throws endless pebbles into that lake. When the pebbles stop, the surface doesn't immediately become calm. The waves continue for a while. But if no new disturbances appear, the water eventually settles. Your thoughts behave the same way. Silence at first reveals turbulence, but over time, it allows clarity. The goal isn't to eliminate thought, it's to create enough stillness for the mind to organize itself. You don't use your phone, but your mind still feels noisy, and that's not a failure. It's simply the after effect of a brain that has been trained to expect constant stimulation. The quiet feels unfamiliar, but unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong. It means your mind is rediscovering something it hasn't experienced in a long time, space. And in that space, something interesting happens. Thoughts slow down, attention deepens, the world feels slightly more real. So if silence feels uncomfortable at first, stay with it, because sometimes the calm you're searching for is not something you need to create. It's something that slowly appears once the noise finally stops.